In this video, we're going to explore the ICF competency number 2 on the coaching mindset. I think a lot of people have asked me, Jedi, what on earth is the coaching mindset and how do we kind of understand that? Is it the same as growth mindset, fixed mindset, or how many mindsets are there altogether? Right? Why do we have to be so concerned about mindsets and mindsets? Well, when I think about a mindset, the first thing that comes to mind is how our minds tend to work. Basically, it's like how you and I think about every day of our lives, making daily decisions in terms of our conversations, in terms of what we do, in terms of how we act, in terms of how we show up at work or in our own relationships and our own lives. So the mindset is very critical in understanding who the client is and how they think about things and what are the motivations, what are the triggers, what are the drivers, what drives them. So think about this. What drove you to wake up today? What motivated you to maybe take a walk, go for an exercise? What gave you that courage or that empowerment to face the challenges that's ahead of today? Mindset with which we enter a conversation will influence a lot about how we think. And I like to always say this. I say that, hey, the mindset with which we enter a conversation will influence how we navigate it. What do I mean by that? Now, when I think about the mindset, I think about it as the way we enter, the way we navigate. It's a little bit like our little compass. So if you think about, like, if I'm lost in the woods, or if I'm thinking about where to go, where to travel, I'm thinking about how do I navigate such a complex, ideas or trips or plans, and how do I bring all those things together? So I ask you, think about this with me. Imagine you are going for a trip today, and you're thinking about what should I bring on this trip? So very much like this picture here, right? So people have asked me, Jedi, how do I kind of visualize the mindset? Well, I say think about it like a compass. So if we have a mindset, say for example, today if I'd ask you, I said, hey, where would you like to go if you can choose any holiday destination? What would you say would be a holiday destination? Well, for some people, they may say that I would like to go to Asia, I like to go Europe, I would like to go to the States, I like to go to Australia, I like to go to, Southeast Asia like Singapore or Japan or Taiwan. So where do we want to go? Well, the location choice first begins with what we have in mind. So say, for example, if you ask me, Jenna, where would you like to go? Well, if I say I like to go Japan, okay, out of all the countries I could have chosen, I chose Japan. You might ask me, why Japan? Well, so you will be curious to find out, like, what is my thoughts? What's my reasoning? What's my thinking behind that? Well, that is the way I respond to you and the way you've inquired into me reveals our both mindsets. Now, what do I mean by that? So think about this. If you ask me, where would I like to go for a holiday, and I say Japan, there must be something about Japan that is relating to this idea of holiday. There must be some relevance to the idea of Japan and holiday in my own world. So that is my mindset towards holiday. So if you ask me where would I like to go, if I can choose any part of the world or any countries I'd like to be in for a holiday, and if I respond as Japan, it reveals a connection between holiday and Japan. Now, we cannot say anything else much about it yet until we ask the next questions. But what we do know is that there is a relevance between holiday and Japan. And that reveals the mindset behind that. Now, from a inquiry end, so if you're the speaker and you ask me the question, where would you like to go for holiday? And my response is Japan, and you ask me why Japan? Now, it reveals your mindset as well, because you'll be curious to find out what I'm thinking about it. Now, if you nuance it a little bit more to say, why Japan? Now, with that little tone shift, it reveals that your mindset towards holiday in Japan is different from my mindset of holiday in Japan. There's a stark difference because your why, it's nuanced with, I'm not sure whether this is the right choice, whether that's the right choice. It sounds a bit, that's not a place I would choose, right? That's the nuance behind. But if your response is, wow, tell me more about why Japan. If you have this upbeat, uplifting response, it means that there is a possibility that you would also choose Japan, right? There must be some relevance between your reasoning in terms of your energy level and also your response to me. So the mindset reveals both parties' way of thinking. So it's not just on one side. So if you think about this in a leader and a team member's conversation, oftentimes the reason why both parties can't seem to understand each other, it's because they're both entering the conversation without first understanding their own mindset into the conversation. So it's often the case where many people say they blame the other person and say, "You don't understand me, you don't understand me." But it's not quite there. It's not about the other person. It's more about first, are we aware of ourselves? Do we know how we tend to think? Do we know what are some of the challenges that we face when we're thinking about certain things? Are we self-aware about our own mindset first? So that's the first premise. Then the second one, it's then recognizing the other person's mindset and entering the conversation. And I often see this in all my coaching class, in my trainings, and in my education, and also in a lot of my personal coachings with all the leaders around the world. I said the person with the greatest flexibility will win. What do I mean by that? It's not winning in the sense of like defeating that person, but winning in the sense of being most flexible in controlling and navigating the conversation, influencing the conversation. Sense of winning, it's not about I'm better than the other person. The sense of winning is that I feel more in control of the conversation. You see, many times when we don't realize the mindset we enter in the conversation, we get led by the currents. Wherever the currents go, we just go. But if you are a masterful coach, you will learn how to utilize the strength. You learn how to utilize the power of the waves, the currents, to navigate and allow the conversations to go in much deeper than ever before. And that's the beauty of coaching. The beauty of coaching is not try to force, right? The beauty of coaching is there is a unforced rhythm of conversation. What we're doing, it's leveraging on that. What we're doing, it's utilizing that. Be mindful, sensitive to the rhythms and the beats of the conversation. And by doing so, we're able to navigate the conversation in a much better way. So as we relate this back to planning for a trip, so think about this, right? If I ask you today, where would you like to go? You'll be thinking, okay, let me pen out my thoughts. These are the things I want to see. This is the places I want to go. That's the food I want to eat. This is the place I would like to go. And then you start planning the whole trip. And how you're navigating the choices? Well, that's the compass. That is your mindset, the which we enter the conversation. So in the very same way, like I always show in the terms of visualization, every individual person have a mindset by which they enter a task, an issue, a problem, a situation, a context. So every one of us have a different mindset. Now, it doesn't mean that your mindset is better than my mindset, the person is worse than mindset. And that's the idea. And that's also one of the reasons why I kind of disagree with this idea of separating growth mindset is good, fixed mindset is bad. There's no such thing as good and bad mindsets. But the evidence of how we use that mindset produces a consequence, and that consequence can be evaluated as a positive consequence or a negative or a disempowering behavior. So you see, a fixed mindset is great. A growth mindset is also good. But too much of growth mindset is also not very good. Too much of fixed mindset is also not very good. Utilizing all mindsets for me to bring into the conversation is key. Now, so think about this. If every individual has different mindsets, some of them are more logical, systematic, sequential, some of them are more abstract, some of them have more creative, more innovative, more multi-layered, multi-dimensional mindsets. How do we as coaches navigate those conversations in a respectful, honorable manner? So you see, it's not so much about what we do or what we force. It's about first recognizing the mindset by which we enter the conversation. Now, because we are coaches or because we are learning to be coaches or leaders, I often say this, the one that is in position as a leader or as a coach must adopt the one who represents the greatest flexibility and adaptability. Many leaders say, "Oh, I want my team members to change. I want my clients to change. I don't want them to be like that." I said, "Hey, the first person to change must be the leader." In a coaching conversation, who's the leader? The coach, right? Although it's a co-created space, although there's a partnership, but the leader who's leading the process is the coach. The leader who's leading the content is the client. So there is leadership at play between two parties. I call this the duality of leadership. And it's a really beautiful place in terms of coaching relationship between you as a coach and the client. And that's why I say the first step of recognizing anything, it's worth entering the conversation with the right mindset. So let's ask this question. What is your mindset when you enter a particular conversation? Say, for example, to solve a issue or a problem or a challenge. How would you address such challenges? How would you enter such conversations? What would you do? Right. So if it's you and you're faced with a challenge, what kind of mindset or how would you approach that? So I want you to take some time to pen this down and just think about this, right? And before you continue with the next videos, because I believe the next few videos in this series would truly help you to get a deeper understanding of the mindset. Now, many coaches say, Jedi, as I'm preparing for my examination as well, or my performance evaluation as a coach, I'm a little bit lost about what's the evidence of the mindset and how do I actually demonstrate it. Well, for the first thing you need to know is first being aware of the mindset. And what do we mean by that? Well, to be aware, it's first to lower our ego, lower our pride, and just be okay to receive feedback from everyone, from the youngest of peoples to the most elders or the most mature individuals. Get feedback from people all around you, strangers, friends, family members, anyone, your clients. Allow them to give you feedback about how they're perceiving the conversations with you. Because sometimes through our lens, we think that we're doing a great job. We think that we're doing a fantastic job. Through our logical minds, we think that, wow, we're doing perfect. Or even through our assessments, for example, 360s, we think that we're doing such a great job, but not realizing that we have hoodwinked ourselves. And that's one of the critical, disasters for coaches. And I always say this. I said, coaches, we need to be very, very mindful that what we mean by embodying mindset. And so let's go back to this, right? Embodying the mindset means this. We think about the mindset, we embrace the sense of developing self-awareness, we embrace the sense of being able to better self-regulate, self-manage ourselves, and embodying this mindset in our conversations. So I have to be intentional, I have to be deliberate, I have to recognize what's happening in those conversations. So think about this. What do we mean by embodying those mindsets? Well, for one, it's just recognizing it first. Recognizing that that's part of us. There isn't the perfect mindset. There isn't the best mindset to have. There isn't that 100%, the full marks answer for mindset. No. The first step is to recognize that every individual person on earth, it's unique. They all have individual mindsets. But we have to ask the question, how do we become more flexible? How do we become more agile? How do we become more adaptable in our mindsets to inspire the clients, to help clients, to also help them to go deeper within themselves? And that is the key for first embodying the coaching mindset. So if you like this video, subscribe to this channel. Stay tuned for more because I'm going to share with you much more in the subsequent videos of how to utilize all these different competencies, skill sets, and coaching. And I hope through this channel as well, I'll be able to coach you through this video series or podcast series to really inspire you to be a greater coach, leader, individual, to maximize your potential as well. Stay tuned for more.